Have you ever heard the phrase body positivity influencer? A body positivity influencer has died, and I want to do a comparison here. Two things, seemingly unalike, but very, very, very similar. I want to start with a video of a doctor talking about being in surgery when she got a phone call, and she had to leave surgery as a woman was having breast cancer, and she had to walk out of surgery to go take this very, very vitally important phone call. And I want to talk about this body positivity influencer. It seems like they're two very separate things, but they're really very much the same thing. It has to do with this question of how are we stewarding the bodies God gave us? Because we're to steward them well. And by the way, the body of Christ, that involves all believers. It's not just your body or my body. It's the body of Christ. How are we stewarding these things? And how are we doing this as a society? So I'll show you this video here in a second. And yes, it has to do with United Healthcare. And because liberals are saying it does excuse our CEO, it's almost incumbent upon those of us who are doing shows like this to say, no, it does not excuse their CEO. We're going to talk about health, so I'll make an announcement about health. My friends Matt and Wade at Bioptimizers have reformulated one of their flagship products, Magnesium Breakthrough. They reformulated it to make it more absorbable, so dissolvable, and more bioavailable. This is fantastic news because the benefits of Magnesium Breakthrough are sleep, staying asleep, states of relaxation, regularity. And the reason to think about this is you are likely short on magnesium. About 80% of Americans are. There's a whole ton of reasons for that. Overuse of coffee and water and soft drinks. Even if you don't have those things, it's very difficult given today's farming methods and agri-farming, big, huge farms, to get the amount of magnesium that God designed into even plants like carrots. So go take advantage of this reformulated product. Go to bioptimizers.com/Todd and use promo code Todd there to get 10% off all their products. Now, when you subscribe, which is the smart play, because then you never run out of products, you get free gifts, you get extra discounts, and you never run out of product. So go to bioptimizers.com/Todd, use promo code Todd to add this to your sleep protocol, your health protocol, so you are properly stewarding your body. So a doctor describes a circumstance where she's in surgery and has to take a vitally, vitally important phone call. Here she is doing her own filming.
2025 and insurance just keeps getting worse. I just did 2 bilateral deeps and 2 bilateral tissue expanders for patients. And I've never had this happen before, but during the second deep, I got a phone call into the operating room saying that United Healthcare wanted me to call them about one of the patients who was having surgery today, who was actually asleep having surgery, and, said I had to call right now. So I scrubbed out of my case and I called United Healthcare, and the gentleman said he needed some information about her, wanted to know her diagnosis and whether her inpatient stay should be justified. And I was like, to understand this, she's asleep right now and she has breast cancer. And the gentleman said, actually, I don't. That's a different department that would know that information. And I was like, well, she does need to stay overnight tonight. And you have all the information with you because I got approval for this surgery. And I need to go back and be with my patient now. But yeah, it's out of control. Insurance is out of control. I have no other words.
No, it's insurance. It's not healthcare. United Healthcare is not a healthcare company. They're not an insurance company. They are a cost-shifting company. And what they do is they play the biggest, most incredible shell game in the world. The shell game is this, that you get a $5 copay, so a $15 copay, so you can go see the doctor. Seeing a doctor is not an insurance issue. It shouldn't be. The reason it's become an insurance issue is because of Medicare and Medicaid. They've seized that marketplace. Doctors can't make money, most of them without it, unless they completely exit the insurance world. So they play this game. You get a $5, $10, $15 copay, and you feel really good. I get to see a doctor for $15. But it's cost shifting. See, when you really need treatment, Then they step in all of a sudden in that largesse of a $15 doctor visit. That's gone. We shouldn't need more than a couple doctor's visits per year, if that. Now, as you age, that gets more and more and more, but does it? I haven't had a general physician since I lost my original weight and left a general physician. I haven't been to a doctor for a visit other than, oh my gosh, I think I got a flu once in the past 4 years, other than surgeries. And when it comes to surgeries, sinus surgeries and 2 surgeries on my shoulders, even organizations like Medishare, they want to screw you, right? They're happy to take your $550 a month per family member, but, oh, wait, you need to have surgery? Oh, well, we went back and looked at your records, and that shoulder was in pain years ago, except it wasn't. My right shoulder never hurt. Not until I went in to get the surgery a year later, and I'd done something to it different. Now, this isn't a rant about me versus Medishare. It's not a rant about United Healthcare. It's a rant about a system that is causing people to be dependent upon a system that hates them, whose job is to keep them distant from care when they really, really need it. And if you look at the way this system works together, that it's tied together, simply go walking around in a grocery store and see all the effort they spend to get you to purchase things that will make you sick. That's where all the effort is applied. From the end cap displays to the impulse items to the discounts to 90% of any grocery store is stuff that isn't actually food. It's stuff pulverized up so that your body loves it. It's chemically designed to jones you, to get you jonesing for more. They have chemists who design foods this way. So when you end up on an operating table and you end up with cancer, you end up with type 2 diabetes, all those $15 copays from United Healthcare and all that happy talk from Medishare, all of it's just happy talk. It's just cost shifting because now all of a sudden the personality changes. Which brings me to this young woman. This young woman was 27 years old when she died. And her name was Killa Demente. 6 million followers on Instagram. She leaves behind 2 very, very beautiful little girls. She is a walking result of a bad diet. And I hate saying this because was a lovely girl and made in God's image. This is a picture of her being a body positivity influencer. Lovely eyes, lovely face. And I'm not here to critique women's bodies. I don't need to do that. I'm here to talk about the health reality of being extra heavy. And this is a different picture of her from a different angle. Lovely smile. Just really lovely kid. She's not radically, horribly obese. There's some pictures later where she is. There's also some pictures with her 2 babies. And she was a mother, and we need to pray for that family. And this is where it gets hard. And it's complex. And if you want to pretend it's not complex, I'm here to tell you, you don't get it. We need to be able to be okay with who we are. We need to be able to be okay heavy. I wasn't. When I was super fat and almost 400 pounds, I couldn't look in mirrors. When I went shopping for clothes, I made sure no one else was there. I had to go to the I love that phrase, big and tall men's shop, meaning fat dude shop. And then I had to go to the fat dude section within the big and tall shop. And you'll notice they don't have mirrors in there. But I had to find a way to like myself. So what did I concentrate on? Work, family. Funny enough, my family says I was more fun fat. I think that's a situation related to stress, not weight. With this young woman pushing body positivity, yes, and you cannot make fat into healthy. Your skeletal system is under much more stress than it should be. Your heart's under much more stress than it should be. You are much more likely to end up with even things like, well, COVID flus, because your body's taxed in so many ways. So what if instead it's this person positivity? You can take a look at this young woman and her videos and you can see that she glowed. You can see that she was charismatic. And she's not speaking English, so there's no point in me playing them. But you can see that she glowed, that she had welcoming features, that she seemed to convey warmth. What about being positive in regard to those things, even as you work on the other things? It was very difficult for me when I was heavy. I just ended up hating myself. But not to the degree that my dad did. And this is where the line crosses. I was negative about my body and the way it looked, and I found some ways to be positive about some of the things I could do. My dad, chronically obese most of his life, morbidly so. It finally took everything from him. He couldn't stand to see himself. He was hurting all the time. He was inflamed all the time. And when it came time for him to die, he actually did have insurance, really good insurance. It was really good at letting him take a very, very long time to die. But at no time did anybody but a country doctor say to my dad, "It's what you're eating." My dad just about killed him. It's the only time he'd ever heard it from a medical person, not one other time. My dad was in there complaining about inflammation, lack of sleep, snoring, difficulty staying asleep because of sleep apnea. And this country doctor said to my dad, "It's what you eat. You're not going to be healthy until you stop the following foods." And he wrote a list down for my dad because he'd been talking about what he ate. You're not going to be eating pizza 5 days a week. Your breakfast can no longer be a 4 or 5 slices of thick bread with a bunch of peanut butter and butter on it. Your drinks can no longer be wine at night. You can no longer sit down and have pastas for dinner with your breads. And you wrote out a list. When you stop these things and replace them with these other activities, come back and see me, and all this is going to be taken care of. The reason my dad was so upset was it was the first time he heard truth spoken by a doctor, which brings me back over to the influencer. You were lovely. You were bubbly. You were charismatic. People liked you. God gave you that gift. And if it's your weight that was involved in killing you, it's one gift you chose not to steward. It's a difficult and painful conversation for people who are heavy because society is increasingly saying it's okay. And United Healthcare and companies like it, organizations like Medishare, they're happy to take your payments in a cost-shifting model until you really need them. Then all of a sudden the personality changes.